Dawn breaks over Somerton Beach, Adelaide, December 1st, 1948. A man sits propped against the seawall, immaculate suit, tie straight, hat beside him. Motionless, polished shoes, pressed trousers, no wallet, no name. Passers-by assume he's sleeping. The tide creeps. The morning grows curious, then concerned. Police are called. He is lifeless, yet perfectly neat, as if arranged by intention. No identification. Every clothing label, carefully removed. In his pockets, a few tickets, ordinary items, nothing that says who he is. Fingerprints yield nothing. No match in the files. An autopsy follows. The body appears fit, almost ordinary. Doctors suspect poison, yet no clear trace is found. Stomach contents examined, organs studied. The tests return only questions. Cause of death, unclear. Then a clue will surface. 2 words that seem to end a story and begin a legend. But first, Adelaide takes notice. Headlines ripple across the nation. Unidentified man found at Somerton Beach. No labels, no name, no past that anyone can prove. Who was he, and who wanted him erased? The Somerton investigation begins. November 30th, 1948. At Adelaide railway station, a brown suitcase is checked into the left luggage room. It's a simple, unremarkable object, one of thousands passing through the bustling post-war hub. But this case is different. It will not be claimed. For weeks, it waits. Finally, on January 14th, station staff open it, revealing a meticulously packed world. Inside are pajamas, a dressing gown, and slippers. There's a tie marked T. Keane, though police find no missing person by that name. And there's a spool of orange-brown barber thread, a type not used in Australia at the time, suggesting the owner, or at least his tailor, was from overseas. Other items deepen the puzzle. A stenciling brush, typically used for marking cargo on merchant ships. A table knife filed down into a sharp point. Every single item of clothing has had its labels carefully snipped away, a deliberate act of erasure. This wasn't just a man traveling light. This was a man determined to be a ghost. The suitcase connects directly to the unidentified man found on Somerton Beach. The rare thread from the case perfectly matches a repair in his trousers. And in a hidden fob pocket of those same trousers, detectives find something stranger still. A tiny, tightly rolled scrap of paper torn from a book. On it are 2 words, Tamám Shud. It's a Persian phrase meaning "it is ended" or "it is finished." A final cryptic message plucked from a dead man's pocket. The phrase is the signature ending of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of 12th century poems. A nationwide police appeal is launched, asking the public to search for the specific copy of the book from which the scrap was torn. Months later, a local man comes forward. He recalls finding a rare edition of the Rubaiyat tossed into the back of his unlocked car around the time the body was discovered. He'd thought nothing of it, but after seeing the appeal, he checks the book. The final page, the one bearing the words Tamám Shud, has been cleanly torn out. Under a microscope, the paper fibers of the scrap from the man's pocket align perfectly with the tear in the book. It's a definitive match. This was his book. But the discovery only opens another door. On the inside back cover, faintly written in pencil, are 2 more clues. First, a local telephone number, and beneath it, 5 lines of capital letters, seemingly random, their structure defying simple explanation. The letters appear to be a code. Naval intelligence and university experts are brought in, but the message, if it is one, resists all attempts at decryption. It's too short for frequency analysis, and its pattern doesn't match any known cipher of the era. The investigation board blooms in red string, connecting the body on the beach to the suitcase, the book, the code, and now a phone number. The number leads them to a young woman, a former nurse living in Glenelg, just a short walk from where the body was found. When questioned by police, she is polite but visibly shaken, almost to the point of fainting when shown a plaster cast of the dead man's face. She denies knowing him, yet her reaction suggests a hidden history. She admits to once owning a copy of the Rubaiyat, which she gave to an army lieutenant named Alfred Boxall during the war. For a moment, it seems the case is solved, but Boxall is soon found, alive and well, with his copy of the book, its last page intact. The nurse's connection remains a tantalizing but unproven link. And the code? It remains unbroken, its lines of nonsensical letters pausing like a held breath on the page. Each clue, once promising a clear path, now branches into a dozen new questions. The web of evidence grows more complex, the central figure still a complete unknown. What message hides in those letters? And who was the Somerton man, this ghost who so carefully erased himself before his end? Amidst the dead ends, a single, tantalizing clue emerged from the Rubaiyat, a handwritten phone number on the back cover. This was the first concrete link to another person. The number was traced to a former nurse living in Glenelg, just a short walk from where the body was found. Detectives, hopeful for a breakthrough, quickly followed up on this promising lead. When interviewed at her doorway, the woman appeared visibly shaken. She denied knowing the Somerton man and asked not to be named, a request the police respected in an era when witness privacy was paramount. She did, however, admit to once owning a copy of the Rubaiyat, which she had given to an army lieutenant named Alfred Boxall during the war. For a moment, it seemed the mystery was solved. But Boxall was soon found alive, his copy of the book intact, leaving the nurse's connection to the deceased man an unsettling, unanswered question. Investigators also found 5 lines of handwritten letters in the book, widely believed to be a code. The final line was struck through, adding another layer of intrigue. Was it a message, a memory aid, or simply meaningless doodling? Codebreakers from naval intelligence and universities threw everything they had at the puzzle. Frequency analysis, transposition ciphers, and even one-time pads were tested, but the letters yielded no meaning. If it was a code, its key was known only to its author. The indecipherable text and the Cold War backdrop fueled theories of espionage. Whispers of clandestine meetings, microfilm, and dead drops painted the Somerton man as a spy whose mission had gone fatally wrong. Others saw a more private tragedy, a story of heartbreak or despair culminating in a suicide using a rare, untraceable poison. In this version of events, the code was not a state secret, but a personal lament. Toxicology tests were inconclusive. The pathologist suspected poisoning, but the technology of the 1940s had its limits. Certain cardiac glycosides or rare plant-based alkaloids could kill and then vanish from the body, leaving no clear trace for coroners to find. Anatomists noted his unusual physical traits, specifically a rare dental pattern and a distinctively shaped simba, the upper hollow of the ear. These were powerful identifiers, features that should have made him easy to find in any record. Yet a nationwide search of missing persons files, dental records, and military archives turned up nothing. It was as if the man had never officially existed. Before his burial, police took an extraordinary step. They commissioned a detailed plaster bust of his head and shoulders, preserving his face, unique ears, and athletic proportions for posterity. That bust became the silent, enduring face of the case, a permanent reference point for any future comparisons or identifications. The investigation stalled. Leads clustered on maps around Glenelg, but the threads connecting the man, the nurse, and the book remained frayed. Without a name or a cause of death, the case went cold. The nurse maintained her privacy, taking her secrets with her, and the official files gathered dust, filled with fragments of a story but no conclusion. But today, the search has been renewed with modern rigor. After his exhumation in 2021, scientists are applying cutting-edge tools like DNA sequencing and and isotope geochemistry to the few remaining biological samples. Through painstaking genealogical research, a compelling candidate has emerged. But the work continues. Soon, these modern tools may finally give the Somerton man his name back, and at last, tell us how he died. For over 70 years, the Somerton man case was a collection of cold, silent artifacts and frustrating dead ends. But as the 21st century progressed, the quiet hum of new technology began to stir the dust. After decades of investigative inertia, a suite of modern tools quietly reopened the trail, promising to read the story written in the man's very cells. The investigation was no longer confined to police archives. Digital reconstructions gave a new face to the plaster bust. Renewed code analysis and the tireless efforts of online sleuthing communities sifted old clues with fresh eyes, crowdsourcing theories and scrutinizing every detail in a global digital forum. Faded newspaper clippings morphed into searchable web archives, and as they did, public interest surged again in the 2010s. A new generation, armed with powerful search engines and a passion for unsolved mysteries, brought unprecedented attention back to the man on the beach. This renewed momentum culminated in a landmark decision. In 2021, after years of public and academic appeals, South Australia's Attorney General authorized an exhumation. The primary objective was clear and singular: to recover a viable DNA sample from the remains, a feat once considered impossible. The task was monumental. In sterile, clean rooms, scientists worked to isolate genetic material from bone and hair fragments. Decades of burial and the original embalming process had left the DNA minute and fragile. Each fragment was extracted and sequenced with painstaking care, a delicate dance between discovery and degradation. The breakthrough came from a single hair found trapped in the plaster death mask. By 2022 and into 2023, genealogists used this mitochondrial DNA to build vast family trees, connecting it to distant living relatives through public databases. Branch by painstaking branch, they triangulated their way back through generations. Their work pointed to a compelling candidate: Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker from Melbourne, born in 1905. It was a careful, well-researched proposal, but crucially, it was not an official verdict. The profile seemed to fit. Timelines from 1948 to today, and travel routes from Melbourne to Adelaide appeared to converge on that name. Webb had a history that aligned with some of the case's known elements, but the official file remained open. Other modern techniques added layers of detail. Isotope testing on the recovered hair could hint at his diet and geographic movements in the months before his death, narrowing possibilities without closing the case. Advanced facial comparisons between the death mask photos and images of Webb, along with handwriting analysis, added more contextual weight. Yet these methods remain supportive, powerfully suggestive but not legally definitive on their own. The debate persists because the documentary bridge connecting Webb to the Somerton man is incomplete. Without a birth certificate, a driver's license, or a military record directly linked to the body, official confirmation from law enforcement is still pending. Even if the who is solved, the why endures. Why did he come to Adelaide? What was the true meaning of the coded Rubaiyat note? And how exactly did he die on that quiet stretch of sand? Science can illuminate the path, but it does not replace the rigors of due process. For the case to be closed, all evidence must align across independent labs and official ledgers, meeting the highest standard of proof. And so the mystery breathes on, part science, part story, carried forward by careful, relentless curiosity. Tamám Shud, not quite finished. Until the last gaps close, the Somerton man remains a profound lesson in patience and in the enduring promise of new evidence.